Welcome to the deep dive. You know, when you watch poker on TV, it often looks like it's all about that one big bluff or uh, catching a miracle card on the river.
Yeah, the highlight reels definitely focus on the drama.
Exactly. But today, we're kind of tearing that down. We've looked at a whole stack of sources, research papers, pro-autobiographies, strategy guides, and they all point to something else entirely.
Hmm.
They argue that real long-term success at the tables, it's way less about luck and, well, much more about discipline, turning it into a skill-based profession.
That's really the core of it. We
Yeah.
dug through all this material, and the message was consistent. Success isn't random.
Right.
It's built on mindset, solid strategy, controlling your emotions, and just making good decisions over and over again, even when cards aren't falling your way.
Okay, so that's our mission today then. We want to pull out those key disciplined approaches. What separates the pros from, well, everyone else?
And we've boiled it down, really. Synthesized it into four main pillars of mastery. But inside those four pillars, there are 9, specific disciplines you absolutely have to get right. Non-negotiables.
All right, let's unpack this. Starting with those non-negotiables, the foundation, right? The technical skills and the money side.
Yeah, the bedrock.
You might think fundamentals just means like knowing a flush beats a straight, but the sources, they hammer home that this is about stopping those rookie mistakes, the little things that just bleed profit over time.
Tiny leaks that add up.
So first step seems to be really mastering the different games. Like, yeah, Texas Hold'em is king, obviously, but you got to know Omaha too, and 7-card stud.
You do. And it's not just for, mixing things up. It's about the strategic thinking required.
How so?
Well, take Omaha. 4 whole cards instead of 2.
Yeah.
Suddenly the math, the probabilities, it explodes in complexity. You need to handle that. It forces a different kind of strategic thought.
Okay, makes sense. And then beyond the actual cards, it's the betting, right? The structures.
Absolutely. You've got no limit, pot limit, and fixed limit. And the sources were really clear on this.
Yeah.
Each one needs a totally different approach, a different mindset almost. No limit takes serious nerve, aggression. Fixed limit, that's more about volume, grinding out small edges with super disciplined math.
Cold, hard math. You mentioned that.
Yes.
Yes.
Which leads us to pot odds and probabilities. This is the engine room, really.
Okay.
It ensures that every bet, every call you make, has a positive expected value. Mathematically speaking, you're not just going with your gut.
You're calculating. Is this call worth it based on the pot size and my chances to hit my card?
Precisely. You need to know those numbers. It's foundational.
All right, so you've got the technical skills down, you know the math. The next huge piece, maybe the biggest shield, is the money side. Smart bankroll management.
Oh, absolutely critical. This is what keeps you in the game long enough for your skill edge to actually pay off.
So what's the rule? The sources seem pretty strict.
The main rule is simple but non-negotiable. Risk only a tiny fraction of your total bankroll in any single session. We're talking like 1 or 2%.
Wow, just 1 or 2%? That sounds really conservative.
It has to be, because if you risk too much, one bad run, which is inevitable, by the way, doesn't just cost you money, it can knock you out of the game completely.
Before your long-term edge can even show itself.
Exactly. You need enough capital to ride out those downswings. Variance is real.
And this feels like where the mental game starts to creep in, right? Avoiding chasing losses.
Huge link. The sources were unanimous on this. Downswings will happen, trying to win it all back quickly when you're losing.
Sometimes called steaming or going on tilt.
Yeah, that's the fastest way to turn a normal dip into a complete disaster. You start making bad decisions out of frustration.
Okay. And practically, how do you even know if you're winning long-term?
You track everything. Wins, losses, expenses, buy-ins, cash-outs, maybe even hours played.
Like keeping a detailed ledger.
You have to. Without accurate records, you're just flying blind. You won't know if your strategy is actually working or if you just, ran hot for a week.
Right. Okay, so tracking tells you what happened. But sticking to those bankroll rules, especially when losing, that takes serious mental strength.
It does. Which leads us perfectly into the second major pillar, building that winning poker mindset.
The mental game.
Yeah. Look, poker is basically a mental sport wrapped up in carbs. Your ability to stay cool, focused, and rational under pressure, that's often the biggest decider.
So what are the core traits the sources highlighted?
Patience is huge. Just waiting for the right situations, the profitable spots, instead of feeling like you have to play every hand.
Discipline, too, I imagine. Sticking to your plan.
Absolutely critical. Sticking to your strategy even when you're getting unlucky, when you're taking bad beat after bad beat, that's tough.
And the big one, emotional control, handling tilt. The source is really focused on this. What did you find interesting about how pros manage it? It seems like everyone struggles with it.
Well, the pros aren't immune, but they're defined by how they handle it. Tilt is that emotional reaction, right? Usually anger or frustration after losing a pot you should have won.
And it makes you play badly.
Exactly. Reckless calls, overly aggressive plays, winners recognize it, they feel it starting, and they have strategies to deal with it. Sometimes it's just stepping away from the table for a bit.
Self-awareness then, knowing your triggers.
It's self-awareness first, then having a plan to recover quickly. It's not a card problem, it's a psychological one.
Okay, this next part I found fascinating. The sources connect things like diet and sleep directly to your win rate. Here's where it gets really interesting, because your body and mind are part of your bankroll.
They absolutely are. Think about it. Poker sessions can be long, demanding. A single bad decision late in a session, maybe because you're tired or foggy.
Can wipe out hours, maybe days of careful play.
Right. So things like eating clean, avoiding heavy junk food that makes you sluggish, regular exercise. It's not just about general health. It directly impacts your concentration, your stamina at the table.
It's profit protection.
Literally. And sleep is crucial for mental sharpness. Plus, many sources mentioned mindfulness practices.
Like meditation or breathing exercises.
Yeah, stuff like that. Tools to manage stress in the moment, to help you stay calm, and avoid going on tilt when things go wrong.
Makes sense. Okay, pillar 3. This is where we get into playing the other people at the table. Reading opponents and continuous analysis.
Because the best players, they aren't just playing the two cards in their hand.
They're playing the player across from them, using information as a weapon.
That's the goal, turning observation into profit. And it starts with watching betting patterns very closely.
What are you looking for?
Confidence, hesitation, bet sizing. Does someone bet quickly with strong hands? Do they take longer when they might be bluffing? Are their bets consistently sized or do they vary wildly? These are all clues.
And you have to sort of categorize players too, right? Figure out their style.
Definitely. You need to identify player types. Is someone playing lots of hands, very loose? Or are they super tight, only playing premium cards? Are they aggressive, always betting and raising? Or passive, just calling?
So if you spot a maniac, someone playing crazy aggressive,
You adjust. You tighten up, wait for strong hands, and let them bluff into you. If you're against a nit, someone's super tight.
you can probably steal their blinds more often, play more hands against them.
Exactly. You tailor your strategy to exploit their specific tendencies.
And then there are tells, those little physical things.
Yeah, especially in live poker. Subtle movements, maybe how they handle their ships, their eye contact, the timing of their actions. Online, it's different, obviously.
More about timing patterns or chat box behavior.
Right. How quickly they click buttons, maybe bet sizing tells online. Once you understand these tendencies, you can use psychology more effectively. You know when a bluff might work, or when you can set a trap.
But, like you said earlier, the game changes. Players adapt, so the work isn't done when you leave the table.
Never. That leads straight into the need for continuous study and analysis. You can't stand still.
How do you keep improving without becoming predictable yourself?
Well, method 1 is constant hand review. And critically, analyzing both your wins and your losses.
Why the wins too? Seems counterintuitive.
Because you can win a pot despite making a terrible strategic mistake. You got lucky. Analyzing wins helps you spot those hidden leaks just as much as analyzing losses where you maybe played well but got unlucky.
Spotting the leaks in your game, the small errors.
Exactly. And method 2 involves using the available tech. Software tools are huge now.
Like Poker Tracker, stuff that logs all your hands.
Yeah, those databases are invaluable for finding statistical weaknesses. And then there are GTO solvers, game theory optimal solvers.
Okay, GTO, that sounds complex.
It can be. But what's fascinating here is GTO isn't about memorizing charts perfectly. It's about understanding the principles of a balanced, unexploitable strategy.
So it gives you a baseline.
A theoretically perfect baseline. And once you understand why that baseline works, you can then make informed decisions about when and how to deviate from it to specifically exploit the mistakes your human opponents are making. You need the solid foundation to know how to break the rules effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. Poker evolves, so you have to evolve too. Which brings us nicely to our fourth and final pillar, adaptability, growth, and interestingly, community. This is the long game.
Right. Strategies that crushed the games 5 years ago, they might get you crushed today. The games get tougher, players get better. So pillar 6 from the sources, keep improving, always.
And that requires some structure, doesn't it? Not just playing randomly.
Definitely. Setting clear goals is important. Short-term goals for a session, maybe focusing on one specific skill, and long-term goals, like yearly profit targets or moving up in stakes.
And experimenting, trying new things.
Yes, but experimenting smartly. You don't try out some wild new bluffing strategy at your highest stakes first, right?
Uh-huh. Probably not wise.
No. You test it out at lower stakes, see if it works, refine it, then maybe incorporate it into your main game. Controlled risk.
And the community aspect. The sources mentioned networking. Why is that so important for what seems like a very individual game?
Because learning in isolation is slow and, frankly, painful. Building community, joining online forums, maybe Discord groups with other serious players.
Talking hands, sharing ideas.
Exactly. Study groups where you can discuss tricky spots, get different perspectives, and finding a mentor, someone experienced who's already made the mistakes you're about to make. That can save you years of struggle and thousands of dollars.
Avoid reinventing the wheel.
Precisely. Shared knowledge accelerates growth massively.
Okay, so all this boils down to being flexible, adaptable. Pillar 8, stay adaptable, adjusting on the fly.
Constantly. You need to read the table dynamics. Is the game loose and wild? Or tight and passive? Your strategy has to change based on who you're playing against right now.
Switching gears, as they say. Tightening up against the maniacs, loosening up against the nits.
You got it. And adapting between different formats, too. Online poker versus live poker, for instance. They require slightly different skill sets.
How so, according to the sources?
Generally, online often requires more sort of mathematical rigor, playing more tables, higher volume. Live poker often puts a higher premium on patience, observational skills, picking up those physical tells. Being adaptable means you can thrive in different environments.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the path to professional success isn't some secret handshake or just getting lucky. It's this blend.
A blend of technical mastery, that financial discipline we talked about.
That bulletproof mindset, the emotional control.
The continuous analysis of your game and your opponents.
And finally, that commitment to always be learning, adapting, growing, often with the help of others.
Yeah. Those 4 big pillars.
Yeah.
Containing those 9 specific disciplines, bankroll, health, study, GTO, networking, all of it. It really confirms the core thesis, doesn't it?
That success is overwhelmingly about skill and controlled decision-making, not just chance.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole package, the discipline, the study, the analysis, the resilience, that's what elevates poker from just a gamble or a hobby into something you can approach as a profession, with mastery as the goal.
The aim isn't winning every single pot.
No, not at all. It's about making the most profitable, the statistically correct decision in every single spot, regardless of the immediate outcome.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It means that focusing on these core elements, these disciplines, lets you engage with poker on a much deeper, much more rewarding level.
It shifts the focus from the frustration of luck to the challenge of making good, controlled, professional choices.
Right. So here's a final thought to leave you with. The sources frame poker as demanding intense patience, focus, discipline, and emotional control. Think about this. Which of those skills honed at the poker table, but really they're life skills, aren't they?
Definitely.
Which of those might be the most challenging, but maybe also the most rewarding for you to apply in your own everyday life, your own decisions, far away from the cards?